The Masons separate themselves from the Illuminati. In 1826, Captain William Morgan, a journalist and stonemason from Batavia, New York, who was a high-degree Mason in a local Masonic lodge, wrote an expose of the Masonic order in a book called Illustrations of Masonry, which revealed many of their secrets concerning the first 3 degrees. Shortly afterward, he was arrested and charged with stealing and indebtedness, and put in jail. The Illuminati tried him in absentia, convicted him of treason, and ordered 5 men, led by Richard Howard, an English Illuminist, to execute him. When he was released from jail, he was warned about the plot, and he attempted to flee to Canada. Howard caught him at the border, and took him to Fort Niagara, where he was held for a couple of days. The Freemasons that accompanied Howard carried him off in a boat, and drowned him in the Niagara River. This event was verified by the sworn statement of Avery Allen, said to be on file at the New York City Archives, who heard Howard give a report of the incident at a meeting of the Knights Templar at St. John's Hall in New York City. One of the 3 men who carried out the assassination confessed on his deathbed in 1848. Masonic leaders refused to cooperate with the lengthy investigation, which didn't get anywhere, since many of the police officers were Masons. The general consensus was that Morgan accidentally drowned himself in Lake Ontario. However, the press, religious leaders, temperance and anti-slavery groups, united to condemn the apparent murder. The murder caused over half of the Masons in the northeastern United States to break off their alignment with the Illuminati. The incident led to the creation of the country's first third-party movement, the Anti-Masonic Party, 1826-33 in New York. They wanted to stop the aristocratic conspiracy, and prevent all members of Masonic organizations from public service. Anti-Masonic candidates were elected to the New York Assembly in 1827. A state convention in Massachusetts in 1828 saw the establishment of a committee to inquire how far Freemasonry and French Illuminism are connected. The committee reported at a meeting at Faneuil Hall in Boston, December 30th, 31st, and January 1st, 1829, and passed the following resolution. Resolved, on the report of the committee appointed to inquire how far Freemasonry and French Illuminism are connected, that there is evidence of an intimate connection between the high orders of Masonry and French Illuminism. A national convention was held in 1830 in Philadelphia, and another in Baltimore in 1831, where they nominated William Wirt, former U.S. Attorney General, under Monroe and John Quincy Adams, 1817 to 1829, as a presidential candidate. They were represented by 116 anti-Masonic delegates from 13 states. The movement caught on mainly in New England and the Mid-Atlantic states. Even though they won quite a few congressional seats in 1832, Wirt only carried the state of Vermont, while Andrew Jackson, a Mason, won big. The party was phased out in 1836, because the anti-slavery movement began to overshadow their activities. They merged with the Whig Party, 1834-60 and 1838. The Whig Party later assimilated themselves into the Democratic Party, the Liberty Party, 1840-48, the Free Soil Party, 1848-54, and the Republican Party. 50 years after Morgan's disappearance, Thurlow Weed, 1797-1882, owner of the Rochester Telegraph, and editor of the influential Albany Evening Journal, from 1830 to 1863, who helped found the Anti-Masonic Party, published information about Morgan's death. His grave was discovered in 1881 at Pembroke, in Batavia County, in New York. In the grave was a piece of paper that had the name John Brown written on it. Brown was said to be one of the people involved in the killing. A statue was erected in memory of Morgan in Batavia in 1882. The Illuminati in the United States in 1829. The Illuminati held a secret meeting in New York, which was addressed by a British Illuminist named Frances Fanny Wright, from Scotland, who was an associate of socialist Robert Dale Owen. She had come to America in 1818, then again in 1824. In 1828, she became the co-editor of the New Harmony Gazette with Owen. In 1829, they moved to New York, and called their publication the Free Inquirer. At the meeting, she spoke of equal rights, atheism, and free love, as she promoted a women's auxiliary of the Illuminati. Those present were told that an international movement of subversives was being developed along the lines of Illuminati principles, who would be used to foment future wars. They were to be known as communists. This movement was to be used to make the idea of a one-world government more appealing by bringing chaos to the world through war and revolution, so the Illuminati could step in to create order. In 1843, poet Heinrich Heine revealed what he knew about this new group, when he wrote a book called Lieds, which was a compilation of articles he wrote for the Augsburg Gazette from 1840 to 1843. A passage from that book read, "Communism is the secret name of this tremendous adversary which the rule of the proletariat, with all that implies, opposes to the existing bourgeois regime. Communism is nonetheless the dark hero, cast for an enormous if fleeting role in the modern tragedy, and awaiting its cue to enter the stage." Clinton Roosevelt, Horace Greeley, 1811-72, editor of the New York Tribune, which he founded in 1841, and Charles Dana, 1997, city editor on the New York Tribune, and later editor of the New York Sun, prominent newspaper publishers at that time, were appointed to a committee to raise funds for the project, which was being financed by the Rothschild. Incidentally, Greeley, because of his ambition for high public office, and his anti-slavery stand, helped organize the Republican Party in 1854. In 1872, he ran for the presidency, against Ulysses S. Grant, on the liberal Republican ticket. Grant defeated him 3,597,132 votes to 2,834,125. In 1841, Clinton Roosevelt wrote a book called The Science of Government Founded on Natural Law, which was the blueprint of the conspiracy to eliminate the U.S. Constitution, and to communize the country, based on the principles of Weishaupt. It contained the detailed plan for the New Deal and the National Recovery Act that was implemented 92 years later by his direct descendant Franklin D. Roosevelt. The Illuminati operated through a front organization known as the Locofoco Party, 1835-45, which was organized by radical Jacksonian Democrats who were strongly influenced by the Working Man's Party, 1828-30, and had labor support. The Working Man's Party merged into the Equal Rights Party in 1833, which later developed into the Socialist Party in 1901. The Locofocos got their name when they voted down the endorsed candidate for the Democratic Party chairman, and the gas lights were turned off by party regulars during the 1835 meeting in Tammany Hall. The matches they used to light candles, in order to continue the meeting, were called Locofocos. With their political strength concentrated mainly in the Northeast, their goals were to establish an independent treasury and to enact anti-monopoly legislation. They were absorbed into the states' rights movement of Senator John C. Calhoun of South Carolina, Senator Henry Clay of Kentucky, and Senator Daniel Webster of Massachusetts, who joined with the Jeffersonian Republicans and the Anti-Masonic Party to form the Whig Party, which represented farmers, Southern plantation owners, and Northeastern business interests. Their main complaint was President Andrew Jackson's refusal to charter the Second Bank of the United States. They succeeded in electing General William Henry Harrison and General Zachary Taylor to the presidency, but were stymied by presidential vetoes when they tried to get their legislative projects passed, especially after the reestablishment of the National Bank. The Whigs later merged with the newly formed Republican Party.